And in case you're wondering, yes, Mizkif responded during his own live stream with excuses and accusations that only seem to reinforce he is a lying, manipulative, abusive twat. Online abuse of women and girls is one of the most common and dangerous problems in the world today. What starts as name-calling or rude comments can quickly grow into harassment that affects every part of a person's life. Women in gaming, streaming, journalism, content creation, and other online spaces are targeted with insults, sexualized messages, and threats that go far beyond normal criticism. The internet gives abusers the power to hide who they are, reach a huge audience instantly, and pile on without facing real consequences. Streamers and online creators often play a bigger role in online abuse than they like to admit. Some directly encourage it by mocking or targeting others on stream, knowing their fans will take it as a cue to attack. Others do not say anything when their chat or fan base crosses the line, even though their silence works like permission. Some streamers are not simply careless with their influence or unaware of the damage their audiences cause. Some are, at their core, abusive people who use streaming as a stage to act out control, manipulation, and cruelty in plain sight. The constant visibility and lack of accountability on platforms. Are we having technical difficulties? Mic check, mic check. Okay, can I resume the video? Okay, thank you. Like Twitch can actually feed that behavior. Being watched by thousands becomes a form of power. They learn that their fame can shield them from real life consequences. On October 25th, 2025, Twitch streamer Emiru went live to break her silence about the abuse she has lived through over the past 3 years. In a lengthy live stream that is at times hard to watch, she thoroughly described a pattern of alleged assault, psychological abuse, stalking, harassment, intimidation, manipulation, and threats of blackmail by her former partner and well-known streamer, Mizkif. Throughout the live stream, Emiru describes a sustained and escalating pattern of abuse that started with grooming, moved into control and manipulation, and later became physical, sexual, and psychological harm. Mizkif controlled what Emiru wore, who she spent time with, and even when she could stream, keeping her isolated and making her career depend on his approval. As the relationship continued, she described several frightening incidents where he threw things, including objects, directly at her and damaged furniture during outbursts. She also recalled times when he drove recklessly and threatened both of their lives, saying they would die together. His alleged behavior toward her work added another layer of control. He would grow furious whenever her content performed better than his, and once sent her messages during a stream saying he wanted to kill himself because she had more viewers. He often punished her success by yelling at her, restricting when she could go live, and accusing her of hurting his career, leaving her trapped in a situation where doing well or doing poorly both led to punishment. This jealousy and professional sabotage reinforced the sense that she could neither succeed nor fail without consequence. The most serious incident she describes occurred after their breakup, when she allowed him into her home to talk and he allegedly assaulted her. She recounts that while she was crying, he began hugging and kissing her, then suddenly forced his hand down her pants. When she screamed, he withdrew it and left without apology, saying only that he felt weird. She identifies this as the moment she realized the dynamic between them had moved beyond emotional abuse into outright physical violation. Even after she cut contact, Emiru alleges that Mizkif continued to harass and monitor her. She explains with screenshots of messages that he tried to contact her over 40 times through text messages, social media, and phone calls, and that he followed her at social and professional gatherings. She also describes him using his own live stream to retell her private experiences with stalkers in a way that framed him as her protector. And in case you're wondering, yes, Mizkif responded during his own live stream with excuses and accusations that only seem to reinforce he is a lying, manipulative, abusive twat. Throughout it all, Emiru stayed silent, but a few things happened that compelled her to speak out. First, she learned of some new incidents involving Mizkif that resembled things he had allegedly done to her. She shared with her viewers, quote, "I cannot, in good conscience, sit here knowing that I know critical information about someone that almost no one else does and not say anything," end quote. The second factor is that her live stream came basically just days after she was assaulted by a stranger at TwitchCon 2025. The platform failed to do anything about it and has since refused to disclose the identity of the man who attacked her to law enforcement unless compelled to do so by a judge. This incident garnered worldwide attention because it was witnessed, recorded, and Emiru came forward with a lengthy statement sharing her experience of the attack and Twitch's failures during and after the event. Emiru is not the first woman with an online platform to experience abuse, and sadly, she will not be the last. What makes her situation stand out is the scale of the reaction that followed. The streaming community, especially on Twitch, has erupted in discussion and outrage since she was assaulted at TwitchCon. For years, many women have spoken about harassment, exploitation, and the failure of platforms to protect them, often to little response, mockery, or increased abuse and harassment. But Emiru's case has broken through that wall of indifference. Her long history on Twitch, her reputation for kindness, and the fact that so much of what she described happened publicly have made it impossible for the community to look away. The reaction has been massive, both from creators who are finally acknowledging the depth of misogyny on the platform and from audiences who are questioning why it took this long for people to care. Emiru's power isn't about moral purity or careful tone. It's about undeniability. She's too established, too consistent, and too well documented for the usual defenses to work. Every platform that's profited off her streams and every streamer who shared her space now has to reckon with that record. Twitch can't hide behind PR statements when the evidence is on their servers, and the community can't pretend they didn't see it when they literally watched it happen. That is the difference this time. The change that could follow isn't rooted in empathy or optics. It is in leverage. Twitch has sponsors, investors, and a public image to protect. When abuse becomes impossible to spin as gossip, it becomes a liability. The real power Emiru represents is financial and cultural pressure colliding at once. The audience waking up to what's been normalized, creators realizing silence is bad for business, and brands realizing association now carries risk. That is what forces institutions to move. If material change comes from this, it won't be because the industry suddenly grew a conscience. It will be because Emiru used her power to make the cost of doing nothing higher than the cost of accountability and change.
Mic check, mic check. Hello, good people. So I wanted to start with that as kind of a, tone setter and a base setter. I know for many of you, this is going to seem like it is super out of the norm for content on this channel, but as you can see, I made this video a couple weeks ago, and it's not. It's right in line with. But I know that a lot of you didn't see that video, so I thought it would be a good primer for what has happened very recently that has resulted in a lawsuit being filed. So, for those of you who are unaware, the gentleman, that's Mizkif, okay? His name is Matthew Rinaudo. The woman is Emiru. Her name is Emily Beth Schunk. And the gentleman in the black zip up is, Jesus Christ, I can never remember his name. Asmongold. His legal name is Zack Hoyt. And somebody said this was a very generous photo of him. Yes, it is. And I did that on purpose because I thought that was the only fair thing to do, given it is the first introduction of him to this channel. I'm aware that he is controversial and potentially problematic in his own right. Okay, so I could have easily picked many of his "I'm a slob" photos, but I actually like a clean thumbnail on this here channel. Okay, so about a month ago now, Emiru was assaulted at TwitchCon 2025. A few weeks after that, she came forward in a lengthy live, which is what my video was in reaction to. It's available here on YouTube, I think, unless she took it down. I hope she hasn't. It's called The Last 3 Years of My Life. And she goes through and describes her personal and professional relationship with Mizkif, Matthew. And it is kind of hard to watch, you know? She comes across as extremely credible, extremely vulnerable. And I mean, she maintained her composure throughout, but she is clearly the stream is clearly difficult for her to do. So at the point that the TwitchCon assault happened, which was again prior to this live stream that she did, is when I really started tapping back into what's going on in this corner of the streaming community on Twitch, which I haven't had to pay attention to since my kids became adults, and I didn't have to worry about the psychotic people on Twitch who may have a negative influence on not necessarily them, because Twitch wasn't allowed in their house, but their peer group. It's always good to know, you know. And these folks have been around for a decade, if not longer, and are very successful, very well known, very popular. So when she did do her live talking about Matthew, aka Mizkif, I was not surprised because that dude's problematic and has a demonstrated history of being problematic and being aggressive, if not abusive, online in front of people. There's video. Okay. So I stand by what I said in my video technical term. He strikes me as a twat, an arrogant, egotistical, self-absorbed twat. Okay. And he did do a live after she did her live and comes off in that way, just an insufferable twat. And when I saw yesterday, it was yesterday or 2 days ago, it was either last night or the night before, I can't remember. that he had filed a lawsuit, the first thing that I thought to myself is, this is the Drake of streamer lawsuits. This is probably the dumbest but least surprising thing that Matthew could have chosen to do, which is to sue Emiru and Asmongold and the companies that they are involved in. So we'll get to that. This is in my opinion, okay, without even reading the document, which I have, which only reinforce. I'm just telling you, when I saw the headline, I said to myself, oh, Drake. Drake. This is Drake. This is Drake all over again. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't file this lawsuit, dude. Number one. And number two, as a result of filing this lawsuit, you go FA and FO on a court docket in front of everybody. This lawsuit comes across as nothing but a vanity project and a save face effort for the people in his life who probably love him very much. He's got lawyers. He's got lawyers now. And who would he listen to? Hoop Dreams says, ABSA, I don't think he, meaning Mizkif, has anyone to advise him. No streamer friend has come to his defense at all. Correct. The streaming community publicly has not come to his defense at all. But again, his conduct is indefensible. And his conduct is indefensible. So let me back up and say that when the situation happened with TwitchCon, I keep a tight algo on what I will allow in my line of sight. So it hit so big around the world that it infiltrated my carefully curated algorithm, which I'm glad that it did. But one of the things that I observed from my opinion is I felt like a lot of men, particularly on Twitch and TikTok, took this as an opportunity to perform outrage about sexism, misogyny, and harassment online. Even though in some way, shape, or form, they as content creators participate in it. Whether it's they do it themselves, just overtly, whether it's they have people on their streams who do it, or it happens in their chat and they don't check it or mod it properly, they contribute to the problem. So part of me was just watching this like, I know these motherfuckers are not on here like, Pearl Clutch, you must be crazy. But I was like, you know what? You know what? You know what? A win is a win. A win is a win was kind of my take on it, after a couple minutes, because it only increased the visibility on what happened to Emiru. And Twitch is under pressure. There are a bunch of things. It created a domino effect. And a lot of people felt like TwitchCon is over. Because there are going to be people who are not going to go. Emiru is one of those people who's like, I'm not going to go. They have a documented history of treating women, femmes, and people with varying physical abilities like shit. So it's not getting better year after year. It's getting more and more problematic. Nevertheless, the men put their capes on, said this is unacceptable, et cetera, and they performed their stuff. Then Emiru had her live, and they got much more somber because she is so detailed in the examples that she gives of what her experiences have been like with this particular person over a 3-year period, roughly. And so he has sued. He has filed a federal lawsuit, and it reads as a save face lawsuit to me. Nevertheless, I'm going to follow this. I'm going to follow this so closely because I can imagine they are going to, the first thing they're going to do is file for a motion to dismiss for failure to state claims properly. And if they can't do that, then they are going to countersue the shit out of this man. And that's going to be the find out portion of fuck around. This is a lawsuit where I am just like, oh God. Oh God, this is such a bad idea. At least one half of this lawsuit is a bad idea. Okay. One half of this lawsuit has to do with accusations of defamation, and the other half of this lawsuit has to deal with business related issues. Okay. Because these people are actually in formal business with each other. So at least one half of this lawsuit, which is defamation, which requires actual malice, Jesus Christ, is foolhardy. And we gonna watch somebody just shoot himself in the foot and get shot by opposition easily. Oh God damn it! Easily, because yeah, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So, the first indicator to me that this is not a good idea is that it's 12 pages. Now, I don't know if the pleading limitation for complaints in Texas is 12 pages, but I don't think it is. I think it's probably more than that. So I said, "Oh, flimsy. We're starting off with just a little itty bitty thing." So this is Matthew Rinaudo and Mizkif Enterprises LLC versus Emiru Asmongold, OTK Media, doing business as One True King, Mythic Talent Management, and King Gaming Labs. Okay, and this is filed in the Western District of Texas. And again, this is a federal case with a federal docket. Support the docket fund. This is great. I think this is really great. So he thought he was going to Johnny Depp her, and instead Barbara Streisand himself into being Aubrey Graham Child. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. Come now, plaintiffs Matthew Rinaudo and Mizkif Enterprises LLC, collectively plaintiffs, complaining of and about Emily Beth Schunk, Zack Hoyt, OTK Media, doing business as One True King, Mythic Talent Management, King Gaming Labs, collectively defendants. Plaintiffs respectfully show the court. Matthew Rinaudo is a natural person and a resident of Los Angeles, California. Mizkif Enterprises is a limited liability company. He's the sole member. Accordingly, it is the company is a citizen of California for purposes of diversity jurisdiction. OTK is a Delaware corporation with principal place of business in Texas. Mythic is a Delaware, okay, also in Texas. King is a Delaware corporation, also in Texas. Emiru is resides in Texas. Asmongold resides in Texas. Jurisdiction. The amount at controversy exceeds $75,000. Venue is proper because of where the defendants reside. Okay. Here we go. Are you ready to meet Mizkif by Mizkif's narration. For the past decade, Matthew Rinaudo has been working tirelessly to build a career in the demanding live streaming and content creation field, primarily on YouTube, a video sharing platform, and Twitch, a live stream platform. Through years of effort, Ronaldo built his online presence under the handle Mizkif, leading him to a multi-million follower presence across various social media platforms. Ronaldo's entire professional life has, during all relevant times, centered around streaming and content creation. His entire professional life, he has been a streamer. Yes, we gotta. Hold on, guys. I gotta take this. Sorry. Okay, so his whole professional life, he has dedicated himself to streaming. Don't you feel safer in the world because he's so dedicated? Don't you feel safer? I can see his cape from here. Yeah, so Ronaldo's entire professional life has, during all relevant times, centered around streaming and content creation. Ronaldo became one of the most successful creators on Twitch with a following of 2.2 million viewers as of October 2025. He was known for collaborating with other streamers, playing video games, and discussing various issues with his followers and subscribers through Twitch's chat feature. In 2021, he won Best Just Chatting Streamer at the Streamer Awards. The community that Ronaldo developed, along with his industry connections with other streamers, his personal reputation, and his business goodwill, allowed him to develop a successful business with multiple income streams from subscribers, ad placements on his videos, sponsorships, and more. In 2020, along with certain other high profile streamers, Ronaldo founded the One True King media brand and incorporated Defendant OTK, which he remains a part owner of to this day. Defendant Schunk, that's Emiru, joined the OTK ownership in 2022. Through the acts and omissions described below, defendants Schunk, Hoyt, and OTK have, acting in concert, wrongfully and baselessly accused Ronaldo of serious criminal activity for no purpose other than to harm him, his reputation, and his business, and wrest from him control of the companies that he helped build. Oh, you just wait. You just wait. Just wait. Again, this is short. We're on page 4. It's only 12 pages. Very short. Okay, very short. Very demure. Rinaudo and defendant Schunk began dating in 2022. The relationship was not easy on either side. They would routinely face harassment from Schunk's followers, some of whom were stalking Schunk. They got into arguments regularly, and Schunk threatened to kill herself in many of these arguments. Schunk would dress and behave in ways that Rinaudo thought made her unsafe in light of the ongoing stalking from some of her followers. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read that again. Schunk would dress and behave in ways that Rinaudo thought made her unsafe in light of the ongoing stalking from some of her followers. Emiru, beloved, you better fuck this man up legally, okay? Okay? You better fuck this boy up. I said Schunk would dress and behave in ways that Rinaudo thought made her unsafe in light of the ongoing stalking from some of her followers. Do you understand why we're following this case? What's that other biscuit head's name? DDG? Is that his name? BBL? What's his name? I was expected to tolerate the mother of my children kissing people as an actress. That one. Honest to God, the only reason that I'm here is that I am pissed off today. Okay? I've been pissed off for a couple days. Maybe we'll talk about it at another time. But I am pissed off. So when I read this morning, oh God, I said, I know this motherfucker did not. If I was not fueled by pissed offness today and this didn't align with pissed offness energy, I would not be here. They're just so sensitive. My God. Needs a beat down. Gotta make it a legal one. This gonna have to be on a docket. This fuck around, find out needs to be codified into law. Woo, this part. Some men like the clout of having a baddie, but are too insecure to deal with the reality of having a motherfucking baddie. I'm just keeping it real. Oh, Schunk would dress and behave in ways that Rinaudo thought made her unsafe in light of the ongoing stalking from some of her followers. At the end of the relationship, Schunk expressed her desire to marry Rinaudo and raise children within the next 5 years. Rinaudo, contemplating the tumultuous nature of their relationship to that point, could not agree to do so. He called off their relationship and moved from Austin to Los Angeles in January 2025. 10 months later, on October 24, 2025, Schunk hosted a live stream on Twitch. On the live stream, she lied and baselessly accused Rinaudo of psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail. These slanderous accusations were made live before an audience of tens of thousands, have since been viewed by millions of times across various platforms. You can count me for at least, I'm gonna say, 5 to 10 of those views. I got the transcript for the whole thing because I had to analyze it to make my video. In the same live stream, Schunk gives accounts of their relationship that clearly do not support the allegations she levied. For example, in her own description of the reported sexual assault, Schunk states she and Rinaudo were kissing. Nope, that's not what she said. She said he started kissing her. That's not what she said. He's so mad about her views. Aside from the fact that there is a difference, that's not what she said. And they just said that she said that they were kissing. That's not what she said. She said she was crying and leaning on him physically, and he started kissing her, and then he shoved his hand down her pants. Baby, I'm telling you, don't even get me started on that broad. They trying to evade the court right now with what the judge demanded they hand over. He issued another motherfucking order and said you got 24 goddamn hours. And that runs out at 5 p.m. Eastern today. I'm so excited. Anyway, so anyway, Schunk states she and Rinaudo were kissing. He tried to initiate intercourse. She made clear she did not want to, and he stopped, respecting the line that she had drawn. He started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. And then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hands down my pants, and I screamed. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat. Nonetheless, she continued to defame Rinaudo and portray him as a perpetrator of sexual assault in a video she knew full well would be viewed by millions. So first he said, it is all lies. Greater stuff? This is why we're here. This is why we're here starting from day one. This is why we're here starting from day one. Baby, the motion to dismiss is going to humiliate him. This is 12 pages. 12 flimsy little stupid pages, okay? The response / motion to dismiss that comes from these parties, I just have to assume is going to humiliate him. I just want to point out that at no point in time in the quote that they put in here does she say that they were kissing, as though she were kissing him. He started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. We all have an image in our head of what happened based on her description. He started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. And then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hands down my pants, and I screamed. When I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat. And in her video, she goes like this, like a cat. The very same day, OTK sent Rinaudo a letter purporting to terminate his interest in the company. OTK claimed it was entitled to do so based on the nature of Emiru's allegations. Emiru is the handle under which defendant Schunk operates her streaming and content creation business. OTK's letter is attached here too as Exhibit A. We're going to look at it when we're done with this. This letter asserted a number of purported breaches of the owner's agreement. No such breaches occurred. Nonetheless, OTK asserted that it was reclaiming Rinaudo's 1,109,139 shares of OTK without payment. This letter further asserted Rinaudo owed amounts in excess of $600,000 to Mythic for management fees relating to purported breaches that did not occur. Through OTK, Mythic demanded repayment of these allegedly owed fees. Further, the letter falsely asserted Rinaudo violated his agreement with King, purported to reclaim Rinaudo's 93,012 shares of stock in King, and demanded payment of $296,401.92 as a result of purported breaches that again did not occur. Mythic, King, and OTK made no serious investigation of inquiry into the basis for or truth of Schunk's allegations before repudiating their agreements with plaintiffs. Indeed, Mythic, King, and OTK did not even ask Rinaudo for comment or any information in his possession disproving the allegations. Instead, a few days after Schunk's defamatory livestream, OTK, perpetuating the defamation, put out a statement on X that it fully supports its co-owner and sister Emiru and stands by her side and admires her strength in coming forward and sharing her story. In this statement, OTK falsely claimed it had terminated its relationship with Rinaudo some time ago for reasons unrelated to the recent events. Hoyt, this is what's his name? Asmongold, okay? Who streams under the handle Asmongold, is part owner of OTK. Since Schunk's live stream, Hoyt has continuously defamed Rinaudo on a near daily basis. He has claimed Rinaudo should be in jail, claimed he was abusing and manipulating others, hurting other people, and becoming an aggressor. For example, in a live stream that has since been uploaded to YouTube where it garnered 1.9 million views as of the date of this filing, Hoyt states directly that Rinaudo was the aggressor and abuser in the relationship with Schunk. Hoyt would then qualify his statements by saying, at least allegedly, but disclaim that disclaimer itself by saying he has to say that for legal reasons. Hoyt has, on a near daily basis, reaffirmed the truth of Schunk's allegations before his millions of followers. Hoyt also claimed on his live stream that there was another, again, unspecified act of misconduct that was the reason Rinaudo was removed from OTK. This is in direct contrast to OTK's own account as provided in its letter of October 24. Hoyt falsely accused Rinaudo of threatening Schunk's employees at TwitchCon, a recent streaming convention. Hoyt has enriched himself personally by advertising revenues and subscription fees garnered from his smear campaign against Rinaudo. Even some of Hoyt's own viewership noted he was drama baiting for views. The combined coordinated actions of Schunk, Hoyt, OTK, Mythic, and King have caused serious and lasting damage to Rinaudo's personal reputation and his business. What about just generally being a twat? How does that impact your reputation? It's a rhetorical question. Since the defamation occurred, Rinaudo has been losing followers and subscribers on a daily basis. Rinaudo anticipates the loss of existing sponsorships. Really? Do you now? And increased difficulty in securing future sponsorships. Yeah, I would imagine so. Regretfully, the extreme nature of the misconduct here has compelled Rinaudo to file suit. Sure. Count one, breach of contract against OTK and King. OTK breached its ownership agreement with Rinaudo by purporting to oust him from ownership when no event of breach or default giving it authority to take such action had occurred. OTK acknowledged it took no effort to investigate the alleged breaches, claiming in its own words that OTK is not involved in nor aware of the content of such personal matter that Rinaudo or Emiru may have with each other. Nonetheless, OTK anticipatorily breached its contract with Rinaudo based on Shunk's allegations. Similarly, King breached its agreement with plaintiffs by purporting to divest them of their stocks in King when no breach or event of default permitting the same had occurred. You know, what's interesting here is why aren't the ownership and partnership agreements attached to this lawsuit? For you to justify saying he didn't breach anything in those agreements. You're just saying that, but they're not on the docket. They're not on the docket. These agreements are not on the docket. So he's saying they are separating from me and saying that it's because of a breach of our agreements between each other. He doesn't include those agreements. We're just supposed to take his word that no breach occurred. No. The only thing that he submitted is this 12 pages, which so far is light as hell on CASELAW, if you've noticed. I guess they're going to get to that. But if you've noticed, there's very little CASELAW in here. That's number one. Number two, the only thing that is attached to this as an exhibit is the letter that they sent him. Now, maybe the agreement is attached to that letter, and I'll see it when I click over to that tab, but it's not a standalone. The only things that were filed were this, the attached letter as Exhibit A, and then the cover sheet for filing. AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, FF, GG. Yeah, if you've noticed, once we got past jurisdiction and venue, I've not mentioned a single CASELAW. We're on page 9 of 12. The child? You ain't said nothing but a word. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button and share this live. Okay, so these breaches of contract have caused damage to plaintiffs by purporting to divest them of over 1 million shares of stock owned in OTK and King. And then count 2, defamation. So there's no CASELAW in this contract situation. Nothing. We're not going to do that here. We're not going to do that here. Okay? We're not going to do that here because it's not fair to Emiru, who has released a full video about her experience. So we're not going to do that here. I remember my son had a girlfriend over a little before summer started, but over summer, and he had a massive crush on this girl, and they hung out all the time, and et cetera, et cetera. And they had a lot of fun in their little young relationship over the summer. And then one day he walked in and was like, I just broke up with such and such. And I was like, why? What happened? And he was like, we don't go to the same school and the school year is about to start. And that's where my focus is. And he was young. Okay. He was like, that's where my focus is. So that's just a situation that's not going to work. I was like, boy, where'd you come from? Yeah, I mean, hindsight is always 2020, and I'm not gonna make excuses for him or her, but because she has put out that video, Imma put it back on what she said in that video, and I can't have a nuanced conversation about that because it's not like we all sat here and watched it together, right? But Imma put it back on her, and I'm a survivor of intimate partner violence and domestic abuse. So I'm sensitized to outside judgments of when it seemed so obvious, or how could someone like me stay in a situation like that? Like, that's not the conversation at hand. And I'm not beating up on you. I'm just qualifying my statement. That was one of those days where I was straight up shocked, just like, okay. Okay. I mean, what am I gonna say? I didn't say nothing but okay. I didn't say nothing but okay. Okay. So, anyway, there's no case law in here. That's why I said this is a vanity project. He filed this because he's mad or because one of his parents called and said, I can't believe they're talking about you this way. You need to do something. Sandra. Jesus. Okay, so count 2, defamation against Emiru and Asmongold. Schunk and Hoyt have repeatedly published untrue defamatory statements concerning Rinaudo to an audience of millions, painting him as a rapist, domestic abuser, and emotional abuser. These statements were made with actual malice. Schunk and Hoyt knew at the time that they published these statements that they were false. On belief and information, Schunk and Hoyt knew. Notice they put belief before information. I'm fucking dead. God. This is the very first time we have ever read a court document where they put belief before information. Lawyer said, look, judge, this is my client. He's paying me to sue these people. Fuck it, here's the lawsuit. Oh, wow. On belief and information, Schunk and Hoyt knew they stood to benefit from Rinaudo's ouster from OTK, and the associated companies and coordinated the timing of their statements to maximize the injury inflicted to plaintiffs. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh. I mean, first of all, I could not disagree more. Okay. I could not disagree more. Oh God, he is saying that they just made this up, just pulled it out their asses in a coordinated effort to defame him and rob him of his ownership in these companies. And he said, I don't like the way she dresses, obviously. She's antagonizing. She and her womanly ways in her provocative attire. What was she wearing when these men started stalking her? Why does she dress that way? By my judgment, she's just contributing to the problem. What material relevance does that have to this lawsuit? What material relevance does that have to this lawsuit? That by your judgment, because of what she wears, she's asking for it or antagonizing the crazies. What fucking relevance does that have to anything else in here? It's not relevant to the counts. Who the fuck decided that sentence needed to be in this lawsuit? I'm sorry. I told y'all I'm fueled by pissed offness today. Probably all week. I know I'm kind of having a delayed, reaction, but I'm like, we're almost down to the end. That had no material relevance whatsoever. And this is why I said this is a lawsuit where somebody is about to fuck around and find out. This is your fucking court document, bro. You paid for this. You paid for some revisionist, fluffy, Swiss cheese, nonsensical bullshit wherein you display a bunch of delulu and misogyny. Just for the whipped cream and the cherry on top, add some fucking misogyny. I cannot, I'm just like, Okay, so they all lied, and they lied because they want to destroy him. Rock Nation. Oh, God. I hope they do. Count 3, declaratory judgment. Plaintiffs incorporate the alleged, okay, blah, blah, blah. An actual controversy exists between plaintiffs, OTK, Mythic, and King concerning the purported breaches that defendants allege plaintiffs committed and the efficacy of defendants' attempts to unlawfully divest plaintiffs of their interest in the companies. An actual controversy exists between plaintiffs, OTK, and Mythic concerning the amount of demand by OTK and Mythic for unlawful management fees, which are neither due nor owing. An actual controversy exists between plaintiff and OTK concerning the wrongfully accelerated promissory note, which OTK had no legal basis to make demand upon. the court has jurisdiction, attorney's fees is the only fucking case law. It's not even case law. I can't believe this complaint has no case law. None. It has no case law. It has no case law. It has no case law. Count 3, declaratory judgment. An actual controversy exists concerning the breaches that defendant alleged. Based on what case law? This is motion to dismiss, failure to state a claim. Nothing in this lawsuit is based on case law. Nothing. 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 Texas Civil Rules of Procedure. That's it. I was wondering if you were here. I said case law at least 3 times. I feel like if you weren't here, it summoned you. I feel like if I say case law 3 times fast, at least, you just like poof appear. Because I was certainly thinking of you the more I said it. Like, oh my fucking God, is anybody else seeing this? No case law in this lawsuit. Oh God, oh God, oh! I said at the very beginning of this, before we even got into the document, that this is a vanity project. I didn't even catch my first time through this morning. The absolute absence of any case law. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh God. Oh God, I almost lost my shit. I'm so sorry. Let me look at something real quick. This is the law firm that filed. Thank you very much. Burke Bogdanowicz. That is just about the most horse shit of a lawsuit. Oops, wrong button. So flustered, I almost ended the live. Okay. That is one of the most horseshit doc readings we've ever had. That might be more embarrassing than some of the shit Nicole Key has filed on the docket. So yeah, they're going to file a motion to dismiss for failure to state a claim or even to file a sound, fucking complaint. I mean, I know Texas is different. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I know Texas is different, but that is some of the flimsiest shit I've ever seen in my life. And there's just no case law in it. Wow. See. See. So yeah. Emiru and Asmongold, but Emiru in particular. I'm thinking. I'm thinking about if it were me in this situation, what would I do? First of all, I would want to have my own counsel. On the defamation side of things, I'm gonna need my own counsel. On the company side of things, that's for the company to have to secure counsel and represent the various companies' interests and the partner's interests. But on I would have to know as the impacted woman in a situation that otherwise involves a bunch of men. I would we need to read that letter they sent him. I'm just remembering. I'm gonna need to, if I'm in that situation, I'm gonna need to be assured that I can exercise a certain amount of control over the legal strategy, regardless of what the men think. to protect my interests and make sure that the strategy that is most beneficial to me is the one that is enacted throughout litigation. I don't want to fight that with other people who are not in the same position that I am in. They're just not. They're adjacent to it. So let me skim this letter and see if I want to go there. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read it because I think this, it's dense, but it's only 3 pages. This was sent October 24, 2025. So this was, I believe, 1 day before Emiru's live. At any rate, very, very near when she had her live stream. Okay, so the subject of this is from OTK's CEO to Mizkif. Subject line is second notice of termination and repurchase, demand for repayment. Dear Matt, on or about November 6, 2023, OTK Media issued you its first notice of termination and repurchase from OTK. As described therein, the first notice was issued as a result of your material breach of your owner's agreement between you, OTK, and its company affiliates dated October 20, 2022. Owner's agreement. Specifically, OTK referenced your course of misconduct, including multiple instances of unwanted physical contact or violence, as the basis for its determination to terminate your engagement with OTK and exercise OTK's right to repurchase all of your shares of OTK stock in accordance with the promissory note dated November 6, 2023, and as subsequently amended effective January 24, 2025. The OTK promissory note. So already in paragraph 1, this letter contradicts the arguments by his lawyers. They're that's not true. Well, here's a fucking letter that proves that it is true. And you put it on the docket because your client is an idiot. OTK has now learned that you have furthered your course of misconduct involving violence, threats, disparaging remarks, and blatant disregard for OTK and its company affiliates, collectively the company, including without limitation King Gaming Labs and Mythic Talent Management. As a result, the company must take additional actions to address your misconduct and ultimately terminate any and all relationships between you and the company. As fully set forth below, your continued pattern of misconduct and breach of the owner's agreement have caused OTK, KGL, and Mythic to terminate their respective agreements with you and pursue claims against you. As recently as Saturday, October 18, at TwitchCon in San Diego, you made threatening remarks directed at Emily Schunk, personally known as Emiru, an OTK owner, even after learning that she was the victim of a sexually motivated assault during a meet and greet. Upon information and belief, your threats to Emiru were made through individuals adjacent to both OTK and Emiru's personal business, and that pertained to potential allegations against you by Emiru of an exceedingly sensitive nature, referring to them as the allegations. Damn, old school Gemini. Thank you, beautiful. I appreciate your support. Old school Gemini says maybe if he'd concentrated on not being a misogynistic, abusive twat instead of being a streamer, he wouldn't be having to file lawsuits like this. Boy ain't never filled out a job application in his life. Does not have a resume. Is crazy to me and really pathetic because you're not built for the real world. You are not built for the real world. Okay, so upon learning of the potential allegations, you threatened personal and professional harm to Emiru in an effort to silence her from publicizing her allegations against you, known as the threats. While OTK is not involved in nor aware of the content of such personal matter that you or Emiru may have with each other, OTK will not tolerate threats or misconduct by you towards members of the OTK community. The nature of Emiru's allegations in tandem with your hostile response to them, i.e., the threats, represent only the latest, but yet some of the most egregious instances of your misconduct in violation of your owner's agreement. In addition, on other recent occasions, you made and published disparaging, remarks about OTK and its talent on social media in contravention of the terms of the owner's agreement and its associated social media policy, including but not limited to the following statements. Fuck streamers, fuck all of them, fuck everybody, fuck FaZe Clan, fuck the fourth floor, fuck OTK, fuck everybody. I'm just going to start being a solo streamer. I never needed anybody, they needed me. Another quote. OTK failed miserably. Nobody wanted to buy it. It didn't make sense for anyone to ever purchase OTK or to run and operate OTK. So now OTK is very small. OTK has also recently learned that you have committed additional willful breaches of your ownership agreement by violating the exclusivity requirements of your talent management representation agreement with Mythic. Specifically, you engage third-party agents to perform the agent services in direct violation of the representation agreement, resulting in you having entered into extra contractual agreements during the term with a total estimated value of more than $4 million. As you know, Mythic is entered into its management fee. As you know, Mythic is entitled to its management fee under the representation agreement for each agreement entered into during the term of the representation agreement, irrespective of whether the agreement properly reported to or negotiated by Mythic. As such, Mythic is entitled to more than $600,000 in overdue management fees relating to your extra contractual agreements made outside of Mythic's representation agreement. In addition, Mythic is entitled to 5% interest per year on all overdue management fees plus costs and attorney's fees associated with enforcement of the representation agreement. In a manner consistent with your prior misconduct, the allegations, threats, disparaging remarks, and your willful breach of the representation agreement, together the misconduct, clearly tend to injure the success of OTK and its affiliates, pose a present and future liability to OTK, and publicly bring OTK into disrepute. In addition to being offensive, vulgar, scandalous, and defamatory, not only does the misconduct constitute the latest example of your habitual breach of your owner's agreement, including but not limited to the provisions of sections 1B, 4C, 4D, 7E, and the social media policy contained on Schedule I, but it sends a clear message that you do not value your relationship with the company, nor are you aligned with the company's best interests. At the time of the first notice, the company elected not to exercise its termination and repurchase rights under the owner's agreement on behalf of KGL, although it explicitly reserved the right to do so in the event of any future breach by you of the owner's agreement. In light of the foregoing misconduct, please be advised that a majority of the board of directors have elected to terminate the ownership agreement on behalf of KGL and to repurchase the entirety of your 93,000 12 vested and unvested shares of KGL in accordance with the terms of the owner's agreement. Effective immediately, you will no longer render any services to KGL, nor will you be publicly affiliated with the company in any way whatsoever. As such, and pursuant to Section 2D of the owner's agreement, please immediately remove all references to the company and any use of any company IP from your social media website and anywhere else you may indicate affiliation. As were the circumstances of OTK's previous repurchase of your stock, all shares of KGL stock held by you will be repurchased on such terms as set forth in the promissory note attached hereto as Exhibit A. Furthermore, the aforementioned misconduct and your continued complete and utter disregard for the provisions of the owner's agreement have now given rise to certain rights and obligations under the OTK promissory note. Okay, just more business. You owe us a bunch of money. If you don't pay us, we're going to sue you. That deadline was November 1. The terms of this letter are confidential information of the company, not anymore, and are protected from disclosure pursuant to existing agreements between you and OTK. Well, they certainly didn't ask to file it under seal, now did they? Nope, they just filed it on the open docket. As such, you shall not divulge, publish, or otherwise communicate the terms of this letter or any existing agreement. You must cease and desist from publishing any public messages in connection with your relationship with the company, and any actual or threatened breach of confidentiality by you will be met with swift legal action by the company. In no way has the company and or its legal representatives provided you with any sort of legal advice or recommendation regarding your termination from the company. The company reserves all rights. You really do need to catch the replay of the document because it is outrageous. I was running through. Okay, I was running through a bunch of adjectives. Outrageous is the one that I settled on. I can't believe that. I mean, people do what works for them. So again, I am not surprised that he has filed this lawsuit because he is an arrogant, self-absorbed twat. But the only thing that this letter does is show that you're perfectly willing to contradict yourself in legal filings. When you say there was no pre-existing issue, and then you attach a letter that proves that there was pre-existing issue. To the extent they previously bought your stock out in one of the subsidiaries. No case law, no exhibits, except for this letter, which contradicts the lawsuit. Restricted titties, I guess. I don't fucking know. It does. It really does. I mean, I said 12 pages. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. 12 pages on an initial filing for a complex federal case. That's not a good sign. And then we get into it, and oh my God, so many people have seen, more people saw her videos than saw mine. And what do she be wearing that get these stalkers all upset? And no case law. I am too fucking done. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Yeah, Emiru needs to have a mixed counsel situation. She needs to have her own counsel. Because I do believe she also has her own company. So if you know, her statements were made on her platform, if she has her own LLC aside from the ones where she's partners with some other people, then yeah, she needs to have her own counsel, and then they can have, you know, joint counsel on the business side of things. But they defamed me and knowingly and maliciously lied about me shit. Yeah, they need to dust that motherfucker. Because this is insulting. This lawsuit is insulting, and it just reads like a vanity project. Which, by the way, she still swears that she is. Casey Speaks still spinning out. I know they on his ass, because that boy's still spinning out. It's been over a week. He's still crashing out on TikTok. Trying to act like he's not crashing out on TikTok. He be posting shit like, if you all knew what I found out and you thought you was gonna read me for filth, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Anyway. You see my reaction. I'm just disgusted. I'm just fucking disgusted. Her live stream was full of lies. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's so badly written. I just don't even know what to say. It's so badly written. And on top of that, it's infuriating. It's poorly written. It's substandard. It's infuriating and enraging. It's antagonistic. It's so many things. Tomato. Trash. Rotten tomatoes. Rotten. I just cannot. I just cannot with him. Why does she dress the way that she dresses? Twat waffle. Mizkif is a twat waffle. I don't even know what that is. I don't care. Satisfying in my mouth. Twat waffle. Her live stream lied and got me fired with a letter showing I got fired a year prior is S tier Delulu. They got the nerve in this motherfucking lawsuit to say there were no prior issues. Okay. Okay, you filed it. It's on the docket now. They have to respond. That's what happens. They're not going to settle. They're not going to reach out to this man and settle. Say, oh my God, let's go. No. Y'all need to fucking amass your resources, get a really good fucking law firm or two, and countersue the shit out of this boy. Uh-uh. I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything right. I got off of her as soon as she screamed. But it was all a lie anyway. But I got off of her as soon as she screamed. But it was all a lie. But I got off of her as soon as she screamed. Also, the line in here about, they have accused him of very serious crimes. I don't recall Asmongold or Emiru citing the law. They didn't accuse him of crimes. They accused him of behavior. This narrative is trash. Trash, trash, trash. If I did allegedly get on top of her, I would allegedly get off her as soon as she screamed, which never happened. I can't believe this motherfucker had the nerve to bring up how she dresses. And that's what lets you know this motherfucker has no real life experience. He is not built for the real world. And his attorneys should be fucking ashamed of themselves. They should be fucking ashamed of themselves for putting those words in the lawsuit because it has no material relevance whatsoever. It's not like they then, laid out an example of her being physically abusive towards him, allegedly, because they got into a fight that was motivated by an argument about what she was wearing. It's just a sentence at the end of a paragraph that doesn't even have anything to do with the paragraph. And then the next paragraph goes somewhere else completely different. It has no relevance to anything in the document. None. It is no different than DDG's. Oh, so what? I'm just supposed to watch my actress wife kiss other actors on the big screen? I'm expected to tolerate that? You bitch. You little bitch. Unreal. 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 So, thank you for joining me for this moment of rage that we could all experience together. I have obviously set up alerts for this docket. They've asked the court to issue summons. When I started this live, that had not happened yet. Yeah, this is just one of the most pathetic things I've ever fucking seen. So, unfortunately, I look forward to following it because I do think this is going to be another example of be careful what you ask for. And you did this to yourself. Remember that. Remember, you initiated this. So anything that comes after, you did it to yourself. Anything that comes onto the docket after, you did it to yourself. And we're all going to witness it. And I hope it does contribute to a reckoning of streamers who do need to find out about their fucking around. And I hope that it further illuminates the bullshit that women have to put up with behind the scenes that y'all don't know nothing about. I'm putting up with some bullshit right now. That's why I'm in a state of pissed offness. So. We'll see what happens. I hope people immediately shut the fuck up. No matter what he says or what he does on stream, I hope they shut the fuck up. And just focus on aiding their counsel and coming up with the best and most sound legal arguments, matters of law that they can come up with to deal with this case while also dusting his bitch boy little ass because he deserves it. It's offensive to, reasonable people and decent men. Shout out to all of you because you certainly do exist and we love you. I'll see y'all soon. Take care. Peace.